Hello.
Then, now,
Showdown to the queens.
Episode number 500.
forever.
Looks like hell froze over.
Without any more further ado,
Together.
let's jump straight into the show. Hello, welcome to episode number, I think 34 of the TEW IX Challenge Run. We're here for SmackDown for Friday, September 6th, 2024. And yeah, we're following on from last week's show. We're on the road to Bad Blood in Paris in 3 weeks, I think. I think it's on the 28th of September, so yeah, 3 more shows after this one till we're there. And yeah, tonight we have Jacob Fatu is in action. We have a face-to-face between Xavier Woods and Drew McIntyre. We have... what were the other matches I announced? Carmelo Hayes and Angel Garza, and Duke Hudson against Buster Gates. And a whole lot more. So without any more further ado, let's jump straight into tonight's show. Randy and Ilya open up the show. The WWE Tag Team Champions, RKO. And they come to the ring. Said it's great to be here live in Lexington, Kentucky. Now, last week myself and the Mad Dragon, we made our first defense of these WWE Tag Team Champions. We fought a hot, young, rising tag team known as the Revolution, Nebo Barnes, Rufus Hamilton. But before all that happened, there was some stuff that went down with myself and an old friend. An old foe named Chris Jericho. Now, Chris, in his career, has been one of the greatest WWE superstars here in history. But recently, he's become unrecognizable from the man that we all knew. He's become, quite frankly, an irritance, a liability to this company. And he's only been back, 2 months? Now, Chris, I know you've got Aussie Open under your wing. You've got a bunch of other young guys under your wing. But myself and Ilya, we're the most dominant duo here in WWE, and if you want to send any of them out, we'll knock them all down. And Jericho does come out. He's with the Learning Tree contingent, the A-Team, plus Duke Hudson, who's about to wrestle. He goes, hey guys, hi Randy. Boy, Randy, you know, last time I saw you, you didn't really like standing in that ring and giving monologues, but man, I was just sitting there, waiting for you to shut up. You know, Randy, yourself and Ilya, you may be the current tag team champions, it's fine. But soon, those champions are going to fall under my learning tree because I'm better at handling young talent than you are, Randy. Just look at Aussie Open. Nobody even remembered they were here until I took them under their wing. Look at Bodie Hayward, who was failing in Andre Chase University. Look at the girls looking for their breakout opportunity here on SmackDown. Of course, you got Duke. Duke, who needs to bulk his ideas up if he really wants to stay a part of the learning tree and not get embarrassed in front of the whole wide world. So you don't have to worry about the Revolution, Randy. I know they took you two to your limit last week, but boy, let me tell you, that wouldn't have happened to the learning tree, let me tell you that. But you're also lucky that it wasn't Aussie Open in that tag team match last week, because you wouldn't be standing here tag team champions right now, because we'd be the champions. But now, if you want to stay at ringside, get a front row seat of what the learning tree is capable of, Duke is going to mess up that big idiot Buster Gates who thinks he's some sort of megastar because he appeared in one movie, and prove that the learning tree is the place to be for all hot rising talent. This Jericho vortex knows no bounds. Thanks, guys. We get Buster coming out. Our opening match is Buster Gates against Duke Hudson. Gets a 79. That's actually really good. You know, Duke, he came back, he's got like 40 odds. He is recognizable and he's got like decent-ish stats. So, you know, Buster just did really well here, carrying him. But it is a Buster victory. He defeats Duke Hudson in 8-12 by pinfall with a Rochambeau. 82 for Buster, 59 for Duke. And yeah, big win for Buster Gates again. This is the second time he's beat Duke Hudson because, you know, I remembered I was informed in the comments by our law expert Christian, And it's true, you know, when Buster came back after his hiatus when he was filming the movie, the first person he fought was Duke Hudson. So yeah, that's fun. Anyway, after the match, Jericho gets into the ring. You know, Buster's celebrating on the ramp. Nebo and Rufus are with him. Randy and Neely are still at ringside watching on. Jericho gets into the ring and he starts slapping Duke Hudson, calling him a loser. No, you're a big loser. And he orders the back. He calls out the Chase U contingent of the Learning Tree. And they try and break up the attack of Jericho, or the slaps of Jericho on Duke. Duke just sort of standing there taking them yeah, I fucked up. And he goes, don't worry, Duke. I'm not going to lay you out tonight. They are. Pointing obviously to Andre Chase, Keith Lee, Shane Reynolds. He goes, if you want your university back, you have to do as I say. Lay out the loser. He wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Lay him out. Then obviously the girls, Thea, Hams, and Haley, having a watch eye in horror as Andre Chase, Keith Lee, and Shane Reynolds do have to reluctantly attack Duke Hudson. That's when Randy Orton and Ilya Dragunov do get up from ringside. And they slide into the ring and they try and fight off the Chase U guys to try and, get them off him. But then they are jumped by Kyle and Rogers, Brad Sawyer, Bodie, the rest of the Learning Tree. They have no problems beating up Randy Orton and Ilya Dragunov, who are outnumbered. Then on the ramp, you see Rufus and Buster and Nebo, Rufus and Nebo looking into the ring, like they want to come round and help. Buster's going to leave, and he sees the attack on the Titantron. And he stops, he looks up at it. And the crowd watching him, cheering him on. And Nebo and Rufus come on, come on, we'll listen to your word. And then Buster goes, get 'em, boys. And the Revolution do turn around, they storm into the ring, and they wipe out the Learning Tree. And then they help Randy Orton and Ilya Dragunov to their feet. And Jericho and co retreat up the ramp. And then get a quick backstage segment. Fallon Henley and Mickie James in the Bones locker rooms, and Lena and Raquel are in there as well. Mickey's Fallon has been wanting to, say something to you for a while now. And Fallon goes, yeah, it's true. You see what's going on around here, right? You're seeing, Queendom girls rising to the top. You got Charlotte, of course, doing Charlotte things. Where's the opportunity for girls like us? Okay, I took Ember Moon to her limit. I took Candice LeRae to her limit. I've proven that I can be on that level. Zelina, you've proven countless times that you can be on that level. I mean, look at you. And Raquel, just look at you. You are 6 foot. You're, a goddess, an Amazon. There's no reason why people like us should sit back here waiting for opportunities, because I've been trying to make opportunities for a while now, and I say it's time we stop waiting. So Raquel, how about it, me and you one-on-one tonight? And Raquel goes, well, I'm always up for a fight. You're on. Yeah, Fallon Henley and Raquel Rodriguez one-on-one tonight. And then get a quick interview. Kayla's with Lord Bando and OTM. Obviously, Bando's doing the interviewing. And she goes, tonight I've just got word from, Nick Aldis in my ear that you, on behalf of Bronco Nima and Lucian Price, have challenged the Hurt Business's Ronnie Hughes and Damon Kemp to a tag team match tonight. Bando goes, indeed I have, Kayla Braxton. Let me tell you exactly why that is. You see, Swerve Scott, my brother Swerve, he kicked these guys to the curb, and he had every single right to do that, because if he wants only the best by his side, Bronco and Lucian, they weren't being the best right now. But as a manager here in WWE, I don't have to be exclusive to Swerve. I can branch out, do whatever I want, and I didn't want to give up on my boys just yet. Okay, so Swerve, he needed allies against the Hurt Business, and I called some old friends. And I'm going to prove tonight that they are the best rising tag team here in WWE, and that they have been overslept for far too long. Overlooked / slept on, whichever one you want to say. Overslept is not the word I'm looking for. Yes, but yes, Ronnie, Damon, tonight you're going to learn firsthand that once you get in the mud, you can't get out of the mud. Yeah. OTM against the Hurt Business later on tonight. 90 rated for this. Nice. That's why I just randomly shoved this match on it, because I knew it would do well. Carmelo Hayes and Angel Garza. Melo does pick up the win in 12-13 with nothing but net. 92 for Carmelo Hayes, 93 for Angel Garza. And yeah, Big win for Mello. Gets a 90 rating. And, nice win for Carmelo Hayes. We're going to cut backstage. The World Heavyweight Champion Xavier Woods is with who else but Kofi Kingston and Big E. He says, boys, the New Day is a brotherhood. Everything we do, we'll ride or die together. Nothing will ever tear us apart. And I stand here World Heavyweight Champion right now. But I have to say tonight, I'm going face to face with Drew McIntyre. And this thing between me and Drew, it's gone on for years. And I want to end this the only way I know how. So tonight, boys, this isn't the New Day going face to face with Drew McIntyre. It's Xavier Woods, the World Heavyweight Champion, and Drew McIntyre face to face. And Big E and Kofi are like, yeah, of course. Get him, King. We then cut backstage. And Pretty Deadly there. They're modelling their sparkly new tag team briefcase that Brooks Jensen bought them. And they're showing off to everybody who'll notice. And then Johnny Gargano walks in. Goes, hey, nice little briefcase you got there. He goes, it is a nice little briefcase, isn't it, Johnny? Okay, Johnny, you have been tag team champions over here on SmackDown. You know what it's like to be tag team champions, but you never had a fancy little briefcase to get there. Gargano goes, no, we earned it by being the best tag team in the division, actually. And Pretty Deadly goes, well, that's nonsense. We are the best tag team in the division, hence how we won that Money in the Bank ladder match. You're just jealous that without your tag team partner and without your wife, you've got nothing to do here on SmackDown. Johnny goes, well, first of all, harsh. But second of all, I've got plenty of things to do around here. If you want to keep running your stupid mouths, I'll kick either one of you in the face. Or even him. What's he even do here? Pointing at Brooks Jensen. He goes, I provide moral support. I bought them their pretty new briefcase. And we're working on the Pretty Deadly musical. Johnny goes, oh yeah, that thing that's never going to come out. You know what, Brooks? Your little mustache, you're starting to annoy me. Mine's better. Okay? So how about next week, if you want to make a big statement, you can step into the ring of Johnny Wrestling and we'll see who's got nothing to do here on SmackDown. And then he walks off and Brooks Jensen's like, well, okay, I guess I'm wrestling Johnny Gargano next week. 6-6 rated tag team match. OTM actually defeat the Hurt Business here, by the way. I couldn't have them just lose again. But yes, Bronco Nima submits Damon Kemp in 10 minutes and 19. 39 for Lucian Price, 38 for Bronco Nima, 78 for Ronnie Hughes, 77 for Damon Kemp. And yeah, big win for, possibly the biggest win that Bronco and Lucian have got as a singles tag team act. They might have won a 6-man when they were with Swerve, but as a 2-man team, I don't think they've won many big matches. But yeah, after the match, Lord Bando is, he's celebrating, he's doing his dance, he's happy as a pig in shit. He takes the mic and he goes, you see that's what happens. That's what happens when Lord Bando gives you his blessing. I don't give up on my boys. And now, Bronco and Lucian have proven to the world that they are a threat here in the WWE Tag Team Division. So, MVP, you can run your little mouth. You can try your hardest to get to Swerve and drive that wedge between us, but it's not going to happen. Because this is where my leadership takes you, and quite frankly, your leadership has taken Lashley nowhere during his WWE career. You thought he'd have been world champion by now, but he's not, huh? Maybe you're the problem here. And MVP sort of doesn't take that, and he turns to Bobby Lashley and goes, shut his dumb ass up. And Bobby Lashley does get into the ring. He goes to attack Lord Bando, but OTM try and attack Bobby Lashley. Damon Kemp and Ronnie Hughes get to their feet. They wipe out OTM. And then, they all corner Lord Bando. That's when Swerve and the Cyclone rush out. Swerve wipes out Lashley with a big swerve. Insecurity. Ricochet and Bronson Reed fight off with Damon Kemp and Ronnie Hughes. And Swerve takes the mic and he goes, P, I respected the hell out of you. I respected everything that you were doing around here on SmackDown. And building with the Hurt Business up, building up people like us. But now we got a problem here. You want to put your hands on my man? My friend? The only friend I still have left in this damn industry? Now we got a problem. So Lashley, you want to prove who's the top guy here, huh? You want to step up? I'll see you in Paris. Yeah, that's a challenge made by Swerve to Bobby Lashley for a match at Bad Blood. Let's see Daniel Bryan. He pulls up into the Dragon's Dojo, and Miles Bourne's in there, and so is Pete Dunne. Only Pete Dunne, because the Cruiserweights have that High Wires match coming up after, later on tonight on Velocity. Bryan goes, Pete, it's great to see you here. Where have you been? He went, we had some business to take care of on Velocity last week. Bryan goes, well, sure, but I don't remember you running that by me. Pete goes, I shouldn't have to run it by you. You ain't a cruiserweight, Bryan. You're barely the boss of me. In fact, you're the reason why I'm not a tag team champion here right now. Because you lost at SummerSlam. Bryan's like, well, true, but also this is the Dragon's Dojo. My name's on the billboard. He goes, you know what? For all those years, people turned to you as you're the greatest wrestler of all time, and you constantly told them you weren't very good at teaching. And I'm starting to think that maybe now you knew what you were talking about in that one regard. Because Jonathan and Dante and Oni, they may be tag team champions right now, but they're doing their own thing on Velocity. You guide me and Miles, and all we do is lose. So, Bryan, why should we even bother showing up here if we're just going to keep losing? And Bryan sort of does pause there. He goes, listen, Pete, I'm sorry that I lost at SummerSlam. That was on me. But I need to stand by this. I need to make sure I leave a lasting contribution here on SmackDown and leave this dojo in good hands. Because, I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this. Pete Dunne sort of looks confused. He goes, doing what? He goes, this. Wrestling. And Bryan just walks off. And then Pete Dunne just watches as Daniel Bryan walks off. Miles Bourne, I was originally going to have him come in and say something funny, but I'm not going to because, that will kill the vibe. But yeah, Bryan. Then see Ember Moon and Kairi Sane, they're in the hallway. They're coming out for a tag team match. It's them two against Regina Del Mondo, Julia, and Yoko Uehara. And it's one of those promos where they start in the hallway, the camera follows them all the way through. Yeah, and it's Ember, she's doing most of the talking. She goes, last week, I came to the aid of my friend Kairi Sane, a competitor that I respect the hell out of. Because she'd been jumped by 5 women, one of whom is a big-ass bitch we've never seen around here anymore. She calls herself the Megasis, apparently. Fancy yourself some sort of goddess, huh? So did I once upon a time. I was a goddess. Until I realized that everybody's merely immortal. I'm a fallen goddess, but I still have that power and that fire and that desire inside me. And Kairi, the pirate princess, knows she's out for retribution, and now, as a tag team, it's time for us to do the damn business and make Queendom Omega regret ever forming. And Kairi sort of then takes over and she's like, Julia, Yoko, tonight, right now, we stand tall. Kairi's music hits. They go out for the tag team match. 81. Yeah, ending. Fucked it over. But I didn't want to beat Ember and Kairi again. I didn't want to beat Julia and Yoko, so we do a DQ. The Megasis runs in and attacks Ember Moon, as does Utami and Saya. I forgot to put her in though. And it ends in a fuck finish. DQ. Well, technically Kairi and Ember did win, but it's by disqualification. 84 for Julia, 74 for Yoko, 72 for Kairi, and a 69 for Ember. Then after the match, the Megasis tosses around Kairi Sane. She tosses around Ember Moon. Utami lays out Ember Moon with a hijack bomb. Megasis chokeslams Kairi Sane or whatever. And then they grab a steel chair, but it's not to hit anyone with. They put it down, they sit it down, and Cammy takes a seat in it. She takes the microphone. She starts. You, Ember Moon. You don't know what you've stuck your little nose in. Okay, because you could have been going on about your career here on SmackDown, none the wiser to any of this. Because this is an issue far beyond you. But no, you had to be a good little soldier and fight by your friends. Do you know why that gets you? That gets you in the hospital. Like where the genius of the sky is currently waiting, watching his Queendom Omega dominate SmackDown. And you, little Kyrie, you're not even fighting for your friends. Or so you don't think. Kyrie, while you're down at our feet, weak and vulnerable, I don't normally like kicking people while they're down, but when it's you, I'll make an exception because, breaking your spirit simply just gives me a kick. You, in your career here in WWE, the past year, has not been going quite the way you wanted it to, has it? There's only one way to get the best out of Kairi Sane, it seems, and that's to put her in a tag team. Have somebody she can rely on to do all the work for her. Whether that be when you were over on Raw, team with Roxy Perez. Whether that be Raquel Rodriguez. Whether it be now with Ember Moon, or whether it even be Io. But of course, Io saw right through that and she kicked you to the curb because she knew what was best for her. Or did she? Because, Kairi, do you really think that entire time it took for Io to recover from that injury and she saw you succeeding, you really think she was jealous of you? She was supportive of you. She was so happy for you. Sure, it still stinged a bit because she was so fresh off her injury and it could have been her in that position, but watching her best friend achieve all these goals, Queen of the Ring, SmackDown Women's Champion, it meant the world to Io. I'd know, I was there. So why did Io decide when she came back that she hated you? Why did she all of a sudden betray her best friend of all these years? Well, why do you think? It wasn't Io's doing, Kairi. That was all on me. Because at the time, I thought better. I thought Io was the greatest women's wrestler in the WWE and that you, being her anchor, pardon the metaphor, was bad for her career and bad for women's wrestling here in North America. They had to export the greatest wrestler from Japan to save this dying division. But look at me now. Look at us now. We don't need Io anymore. Io's success came at the hands of Queendom. And now with her out of the way and you soon to follow, perhaps you can reunite in hospital. Then, see, Candice and Dakota, they're getting ready. They've got a match coming up next against Ariana Grace and Ava Raine of the Royal Dynasty. And, Cass goes, it's sort of weird around here, just us. Me and you, no Tegan, no Piper. Dakota goes, yeah, but they're doing pretty good on Raw. They got a tag team championship match, and who knows? If they win that, they can show up on SmackDown whenever they want. So maybe our goodbyes were a little too premature. Cass goes, anyway, about that. Don't know if you noticed, but there's a new breakout tournament starting on Heat, and the winner faces me at Bad Blood. And that new girl in Queendom, she's in it. Dakota goes, oh boy, more Queendom girls to come after your championship, I see. But, Candice, you're the champion, I'm the champion, and they're going to keep it that way. So no matter who wins that breakout tournament and challenges you at Bad Blood, you're going to be standing here when we get back from Paris, still the Liberty champion, and I'm still going to be the Women's World Champion. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, let's do it. And they do a secret handshake or whatever and leave for their match. But first, we see Swerve walk up to Lord Bando in the hallway as he's checking on OTM, who are getting checked out by doctors. And he goes, Bando, what? And he walks up, he goes, what is it, Swerve? He goes, first thing, I'm proud of you, my brother. Sure, myself and Bronco and Lucian, our ideals don't align with our careers right now. But you didn't abandon them. And I was impressed by them, what I saw tonight. You know, they've still got a long way to go, but I reckon if you stick by them, just like you stick by me, you can get them there. But I did actually come here to talk to you about them. You see, I've been talking to Ricochet and Bronson, and they still walk into frame. And they've also got these issues with the Hurt Business they need solving. So, I appreciate the effort, but they're looking a little bit banged up right now, so how about next week, it'll be me and the Cyclone against the Hurt Business in a 6-man tag team match. Banner goes, you know I'll be there with you, my brother. We're gonna teach MVP and Lashley and those other idiots a lesson not to mess with Swerve Scott. So yeah, 6-man tag next week. It's the Cyclone and Swerve against the Hurt Business. Lashley, Damon Kemp, and Ronnie Hughes. 68. Sure, that's fine. Raquel Rodriguez does pick up the win over Fallon Henley in 8 minutes and 12 with a big boot. 65 for Raquel, 55 for Fallon. And yeah, a nice little win for Raquel Rodriguez here, who picks up the win. You know, Zelina Vega is at ringside, where she's aiding Raquel, I guess, is her friend. And after the match, you know, Raquel gets to her feet, Fallon gets to hers. Raquel offers out a handshake to Fallon Henley, and she shakes her hand. And after the match, and then Raquel goes to leave, and Fallon Henley jumps Raquel from behind, knocks her out of the ring. And Mickie James and Zelina Vega like, what the fuck are you doing? And Fallon snaps, and she attacks Raquel on the outside. Mickie James tries to go break up the fight. Fallon Henley shoves her to the floor. And Zelina Vega looks pissed off when Mickie James gets shoved to the floor. She's like, you bitch, you just shoved, your WWE Hall of Famer manager on the floor. And then she shoves Zelina Vega on the floor. She's like, leave me alone, bitch. This is none of your business. And she just walks out. Raquel laid out, glaring at Fallon Henley as she walks away. And Zelina, checking on Mickie. Mickey's like, well, no, I used to wrestle. I'm fine. I've been through worse than that. But yeah, Fallon Henley snaps here tonight. Wild. We then see, it's a Neville promo. He's in a dark backstage room with a light on him. And he's cutting up promo. He goes, at SummerSlam, the King of the United States, I saw my empire crumble before my very eyes when Sami Zayn took my championship from me. But no matter, because since then I've picked up a victory over that cockroach, Sami Zayn. And as long as I'm still here on SmackDown, he's never going to be safe. Because that United States Championship will come back to where it belongs. And that's when Grayson Waller walks in. He's like, hey, there you are. I've been looking all over for you, lad. Well, I want to talk to you about last week. And of course, we have nothing to discuss. He goes, I get it. I don't really like your presence either. You're a little bit ugly and a little bit elfy for me. But we do have a common enemy. 2 common enemies, in fact. Those being Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn. And they were trying to rip each other's heads off last week. And me and you, we were so well in sync, that we managed to pick up the victory. So I just want to say high five, lad. I might have misjudged you. And Neville just sort of glares up with a hand. And what's Grayson Waller and goes, if you want to do me a favour, you can go talk to Adam Pearce and get me a match made for next week. Well, it goes, great, Have you got an opponent in mind? He goes, Grayson Waller. He goes, that's me, lad. You want to fight your new tag team partner, would you? Neville sort of growls and walks off. And he's like, well, yeah, he's as happy as ever, it seems. Learning Tree approaches Duke Hudson backstage. with the rest of the Chase U gang. He goes, Duke! Hi everyone. I was expecting a hell of a lot better from you tonight, huh? Sure, we all have off nights in our career, and that's okay. It's important not to beat yourself up about it, because if you don't beat yourself up, somebody else will do it for you. Duke goes, very funny, Chris, I get it. He goes, well, I was talking to the rest of our guys, and I think it's time we head back to campus. See what's going on in the Chase University campus since, I took over ownership and made it a better university for everybody. And I think, what great way to really drive that point home than by you, Duke, telling the world what brought you to Chase University in the first place. Unless, of course, you want to be on the receiving end of another beating from your fellow classmates. Bye, guys. Thanks, guys. And he walks off. And Duke's looking nervous, and Andre Chase and Keith Lee and Shane was like, brother, just tell us, we won't judge. And then Duke sulks off. 79 tag team match. Pretty good, actually. Dakota and Candice do pick up the win over the Royal Dynasty. Dakota pinning Ava Raine with the Wicked Stepsister PK kick combo. 84 to Dakota, 85 for Candice, 70 for Ava Raine, and 72 for Ariana Grace. Pretty nice, yeah. After the match, though, Dakota does take the mic. She goes, well, Queen, I'm here. So Charlotte does come out. She goes, wow, impressive win, Dakota. You beat my lackeys. Okay, sure, I love my girls to death, but come on, let's be real now. They're not exactly the most threatening tag team here in the SmackDown Women's Tag Team Division, now are they? But I'm glad to see you've actually got the balls to show up tonight. I couldn't help but notice your adorable little house party last week. You got a nice photo to commemorate the occasion. That's adorable. Friends, where will we be without them? I'll tell you exactly where. At the top of the damn mountain. So you can waste your time with Candice LeRae and Tegan and Piper and share little bracelets and house keys and secrets like a sleepover. I'm beyond that. I grew out of that stuff 30 years ago when I woke up one day and decided to be undeniable. Okay, I may have been born into greatness, but that just means I had to work twice as hard to get greatness. And you, Dakota, you lucked into greatness. You wouldn't be standing here right now if the Queendom, who I defeated, of course, at SummerSlam, were smarter and more aware of their surroundings. They'd have ripped you up like a bag of vultures with a carcass and tossed you out on the street. But they didn't, because they were too stupid to realize it. But if you'd have tried that shit with me, make no mistake about it, you'd have been on the floor within 2 weeks. So, you beat Ember Moon, you beat Candice LeRae, you beat a whole line of superstars to keep a hold of that championship, but nobody is ever a champion unless they are or have defeated the woman. Somebody I know used to say, to be the man, you've got to beat the man. In Dakota, I may not look like Becky, but you're looking at the man around here. So if you want to prove that you are all that you're not a flash in the pan, that you didn't luck your way into being champion, you know where I'll be on September 28th. I'll be in the fashion capital of the world, the royalest city on earth, and I can't think of a better place to capture my 12th? Maybe? 12th Women's Championship. I guess, Charlotte, you are, of course, a legend. An icon. I can't deny any of that, Coming in as a second-generation wrestler. Coming into the game a lot later than most people would, and still making it higher than most people do. That's impressive. But that gives all of us extra time to study your game, Charlotte. Now don't get it twisted. Bad blood. It'll be a hell of a fight. Possibly one of the toughest of my career. Because you are the Charlotte Flair. But I don't look at you and I don't see the Charlotte Flair. I just see Charlotte Flair, the next victim of my championship reign. You know, they said I couldn't beat Io, I did. They said I couldn't beat Io again, I did. And you fancy yourself better than Io, the real queen around here. Well, I've got a knack for knocking queens off their throne. So at Bad Blood, you may be the queen, but you're going to be going toe-to-toe with the king. Yeah, official. Bad Blood, Charlotte Flair, Dakota Kai, Women's World Championship. Not too shabby. We didn't see Shark KO backstage when the Revolution approached. Buster goes, hey, Randy, Ilya, how you holding up? Randy goes, first of all, thanks for having our back out there tonight, but, what's in it for you? I know you want your boys another shot at these WWE Tag Team Championships. And Buster goes, well, I'm not going to say no if you're going to offer one up. But my boys, we have to earn championships and opportunities around here. What we need to do is we need to shut that goddamn Chris Jericho's mouth. Okay? So if you are an enemy of Chris Jericho, then you're a friend of mine. And he offers a handshake out. Ilya accepts the handshake. Randy accepts the handshake. He goes, it's nice to know someone around here still got some sense. And yeah, Revolution seemingly going babyface soon. I wonder what that could be for. I wonder what rivalry that could be setting up. There we go, 90 rated match. Jacob Fatu against Otis. Obviously, Mr. Tall and Sexy is at ringside, spraying his cologne. But I want to give Otis this shot. Because he's a good hoss. I like Otis. So I thought I'd give him the match. And Jacob Fatu does pick up the win, though. He is a fucking beast right now. Like, I can trust him to deliver 90 ratings for basically anybody. And don't worry, his trajectory over the next 6 months will show based on how well he's performing right now. 93 for Jacob Fatu, 84 for Otis. Now, he's celebrating after the match when Tyler Breeze walks out. And he sort of just stands on the apron. He's got like a notepad on him and he's like writing stuff down as he looks at Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu looks across confused at him. And Breeze, just finishes writing down what he's looking at, gives Jacob Fatu another look and just walks to the back. And Jacob Fatu goes, okay, what the fuck's his deal? Next week, we've got a pretty stacked episode of SmackDown in ring-wise, with 5 matches announced, including the least of them all. Johnny Gargano against Brooks Jensen. Gargano, he had a little bit of a backstage altercation with Pretty Deadly earlier on tonight, and he's going to go one-on-one with their man, Brooks Jensen, next week. Plus, following her attack on Raquel Rodriguez earlier tonight, Fallon Henley will be in action again next week, this time against Selena Vega, sticking up for her friend Raquel, who was attacked by Fallon Henley. We also have a 6-man tag team match, as Swerve Scott and the Cyclone team up to face Bobby Lashley, Damon Kemp, and Ronnie Hughes of the Hurt Business amid their ongoing issues ahead of Swerve and Lashley's singles match at Bad Blood. We also have, I guess it's now confirmed, I guess he found Adam Pearce, because Neville and Grayson Waller are set to go one-on-one on next week's episode of SmackDown, and just announced now, following the recent in-ring interaction between her and Dakota Kai, Charlotte Flair will be in action next week against a fellow champion, not Dakota, but Candice LeRae instead. Dakota's bestie, and Charlotte Flair will go one-on-one on next week's episode of SmackDown. And moving on to Bad Blood, we have 2 new matches set for that show tonight, including the aforementioned Women's World Championship match, when Charlotte Flair, the Queen Woo, is the latest challenger for Dakota Kai. And can she be the inevitable Charlotte Flair and capture the championship yet again, or will Dakota come out on top and defeat yet another top star on her quest to becoming the greatest champion here? We'll have to wait and find out. Plus, it's now official. Swerve Scott, Bobby Lashley, one-on-one at Bad Blood, following their weeks of, hatred and fights here on SmackDown. Drew McIntyre comes to the ring to end the show. He says, Lexington, Kentucky. Not exactly the place I imagined I'd be doing all of this, in a crap hole like Lexington, Kentucky. But here I am. 2 weeks ago, I made my return here to SmackDown. I did so, and I laid out the New Day and the esteemed World Heavyweight Champion Xavier Woods. Why? It's pretty obvious why. Because I'm better than Xavier Woods. At every single turn last year, when Xavier Woods came to me when I was WWE Champion, trying to take my championship from me, he failed. Every single time. I exposed to the world what Xavier Woods was, and that's a choke artist and a loser. But I have to give it up to Xavier Woods, because he, to you at least, proved all of that wrong at King of the Ring when he finally became King of the Ring. Achieved a childhood dream. Bitch. You only did that because I wasn't around. You only beat Swerve because I wasn't around. And now Woods, he's got to deal with a nightmare scenario that he didn't want to have to deal with, and that's the bad blood in 3 weeks' time. His worst nightmare, his kryptonite, is gunning for him and that championship, because it's been an awful 3 months to beat Drew McIntyre recently. Losing in my hometown to Swerve, to everything else that happened since then, to now standing around and seeing somebody that I know I'm leagues better than holding a championship that should belong to me. So, Woods, congratulations on fulfilling your little prophecy. At Bad Blood, I'm gonna end it. Xavier Woods then comes out. He says, Drew, you're right. And everything you just said, you're right. Last year I did challenge you for that WWE Championship a number of times, and I failed every single time. At WrestleMania, you and I faced off and I lost. But now I've been to the top. You're not looking at that naive little Xavier Woods who was flickering in the lights, getting lost and starstruck because he was in spots that he'd never been in before in his career. I know what it is to be at the top, because I'm currently at the top. And you can say I'm at the top because you weren't around. But that's the nature of the business, Drew. You step up or you step aside. And you stepped aside, and who stepped up? Me. I know it pains you deep within your soul to know that it was me. But this championship, this crown, proves just that. It was me who stepped up, McIntyre. You gave me the opportunity, and I thank you for that. But now you're back and you want my spot back. I ain't giving it up. You think Bad Blood's going to be a cakewalk? Think again. The Xavier Woods that you stepped into the ring with, he ain't the same Xavier Woods that stands before you World Heavyweight Champion. Swerve was arguably the greatest World Heavyweight Champion of this generation. He beat you fair and square in your own backyard. Who was good enough to beat him, Drew, huh? Wasn't you. Wasn't John Cena. It was me. And my heart and my determination to be at the top. It's one thing to fulfill that prophecy. It's another to keep it going. And at Bad Blood, I'm going to keep it going. And I'm going to notch off 2 big knots on my belt. The first being my first World Championship defense, which everybody knows is the most difficult defense. And my second being finally beating you one-on-one in this ring. That's a lot of talk from a tag team guy. Listen, Woods. How many wrestlers have we seen over the years that have had their 15 minutes of fame as WWE Champion or as World Heavyweight Champion? Too many to count. I won't name names, but you know the people I'm talking about. Woods, you're just another one of those. You're not the hero of your story. You're not Kofi Mania, standing tall as the champion after all those years of setbacks. You're just another Jinder Mahal. In fact, you're not even as good as my good friend Jinder was. Because Jinder, he beat me. I can't say the same thing about you. And Xavier Woods, he does take that and he goes, disrespecting not only me, but other people who have held these championships now, Drew. You're not the god that you think you are. Your life nearly went to hell recently. You'd think, with such a second chance in your career that you thought might have been fading away, you'd use it better than this. But you won't do that, will you? Because those 3 months that you spent away as your life almost spiraled to hell. You didn't use that as motivation to come back and be better. That made you bitter. And that made you bitter seeing me as the World Heavyweight Champion. But if you're bitter now, and you're mad now, just you wait till how mad you're going to be at yourself after Bad Blood when little old Xavier Woods, the 50 minutes of fame flash in the pan, pins your ass and proves that he is better than Drew McIntyre. Because I've said the Xavier Woods you wrestled last year isn't the same Xavier Woods that stands before you now. Well, I can tell by the look in your eyes, Drew. You ain't the same Drew McIntyre that beat me last year. You don't know if or when you're going to make it back to the top, and that's why you're so desperate. That's why you're so bitter, and that's why you needed this bad. But you're not going to get it, because I ain't letting it go. That's when Drew McIntyre is pissed off. He headbutts Xavier Woods. He tosses him around. Big E and Kofi were told not to come out here, and they will obviously listen to Woods and don't come out. He backs into the corner, 3, 2, 1. He claymores Xavier Woods. He looks down at the floor and you see Xavier Woods' crown next to the World Heavyweight Championship. And Drew sort of picks up the crown, places it on Xavier Woods' body, and then holds the World Heavyweight Championship up high. And that's how the show goes off the air. 85. Sure, I used OTM too much. I can understand that. Yeah, they did have a match and a couple of segments. But yeah, that ends the show. What matters more is what you thought of the show. I'll see you over now on the flip side for a pretty big Velocity show that has a Cruiserweight Championship number 1 contenders match and the 3-way High Wires match. So yeah, pretty big show. Velocity is a stacked show tonight. I haven't even got any time for any segments on this show because all the wrestling is long and sick. So yeah. We start off with the Hideo Itami versus Cedric Alexander Cruiserweight Championship number 1 contenders match. And yeah, Cedric Alexander does defeat Hideo Itami in 1820 with a lumbar check to earn the rematch against Axiom, the Cruiserweight Championship match at SummerSlam. Axiom picked up the win on the pre-show. Cedric gets a rematch, and he gets an AT65 for Hideo Itami, and it is announced at High Voltage, the ECW branded pay-per-view, and it will be a ladder match. So Cedric and Axiom will face off in a Cruiserweight Championship ladder match at High Voltage. Oh, and the reason why it's on High Voltage is, of course, because Cedric Alexander is an ECW wrestler. So, yeah. Which I also like a lot, because, it just happened that the Raw Tag Team title match was on Bash in Berlin. Bad Blood has the Liberty Championship match, and a Cruiserweight Championship match is on. So they've all got a title match of the floating belts, which I thought was nice. And yeah, Cedric and Axiom in a ladder match at High Voltage. And of course we do have the main event tonight, which is the High Wires 3-way. But before that, we've got the 2 semi-finals of the Speed number 1 contendership tournament. The first is Oro Mensah against Anthony Nese. 64 for a Speed match. It's actually not that bad. But yeah, Oro Mensah does pick up the win. He gets the instant kill and pins Anthony Nese in 4:45. 76 for Oro. 66 for Anthony Nese. So yeah, next week he'll be in the finals of the Speed Championship tournament, where he will face 70s, even better. Ashanti the Adonis, the God's Adonis Truth, picks up the win over Clark Connors in 4 minutes and 12. And it will be Ashanti against Oro Mensah. A pretty fun little match, Two, guys that I quite like, but, aren't really top-level guys. So, just give them something to do. 80 for Ashanti, 67 for Clark Connors. And, yeah. Our main event is the High Wires 3-way. And an 82 rated match. The stipulation got the better of the Dragon's Dojo. As soon as the stipulation was announced, you figured the LA Extreme had the favour in this match. And they do. Roosh retrieves the championships in 20 minutes and 17. And LA Extreme are once again the Cruiserweight Trios champions, winning back the belts they never lost. 84 for Roosh, 71 for Jorge, 62 for Santos Escobar, 70 for Oni, 75 for Dante Rios, and 85 for Jonathan Gresham. And I will say, I originally was going to do the title change at SummerSlam, but I didn't want to do it on the pre-show, which, you know, you can infer what you want about other title matches based on that statement. And B, I wanted them to at least hold the belt for a little bit longer so I could do the Bryan stuff. But, yeah, LA Extreme have won back the gold to end the show. Gets an 80 rating, a pretty sick episode of Velocity. That's better than a lot of ECW episodes of the Russo era. And even now, to be honest. But yeah, we might as well see what you thought of the show, mainly of SmackDown. And I'll see you next time for Raw, which will be their go-home show for Bash in Berlin. See you then.